Hey guys, in today's video I will explain to you the different types of damage in Dauntless and how all the numbers you see on the screen work. Before I begin, remember to thumbs up the video if you find it useful and to follow me on Twitch as well as subscribe here on YouTube for more content like this. In Dauntless you have basic damage, part damage, stagger damage, wound damage and elemental damage. First we have the basic damage. This is the one which chips off the main health pool of the behemoth, which you need to get to 0 in order to kill it. It appears as a green numbers when you attack the behemoth. You will always deal basic damage to the behemoth regardless if you do not see green numbers on your screen. The reason you do not see green numbers is because until you destroy a behemoth body part, the green damage is hidden in the background and you only see the part damage. But that does not mean that you do not deal basic damage. Remember, you will always deal green basic damage to the behemoths. Whenever you hit the behemoth on its body and not body parts, you will see the basic green damage appear. All weapons deal basic damage, which is obvious. Axe deals the most, followed by the hammer, then the sword, and I'm not sure whether chain blades or warpike was last and second last. Part damage is the one you deal to the specific behemoth part in order to destroy them and get the extra loot from them. It is displayed by yellow numbers on your screen. As mentioned above, most of the time you will not see the basic damage and you will only see the part damage when attacking a behemoth part. Despite this, you will always deal the basic damage to the behemoth and you only deal part damage until you destroy the part. After you destroy it, you will see that the yellow numbers will stop appearing on the part. This is an easy way to tell which behemoth part you have destroyed. After you destroy it, you will start seeing the green damage. Now remember that part and basic damage are not identical numbers. If you see 500 yellow damage on the screen, that does not mean that the basic damage you dealt in the background is also 500. It might be more, it might be less. Most of the time, it is less than the part damage. Technically, the part damage weapon rankings are the same as basic damage ones, but it all varies on how well you can stick on the part you're trying to attack and the behemoth you're attacking. The sword will take you less time and be easier to use for breaking the parts of one behemoth and the axe on another. It is very situational which weapon is gonna be faster and better. Wounded damage is the red numbers you see on the screen. Now, whenever you reach the wounded damage cap on a certain behemoth part, that part will start to glow in light blue color and will then take 50% extra part damage from all weapons and 25% extra part damage from the pikes. When a part is wounded, the red numbers will stop appearing on the part and you stop doing wounded damage to it. When you deal wound damage, it does not deal basic damage. What I mean by this is that if you only see red numbers on your screen, then it does not deal basic green damage in the background, and this means the behemoth's HP is not getting reduced. The only weapon which can deal wounded damage is the warpike currently. All other weapons need to have the barb stat in order to be able to do this, but my opinion is that it is useless to spend cells or gear options for it unless you combine it with something else, and the only armor which offers it at the moment is the Deadeye Quillshot one. Stagger damage is the one which causes you to stagger or disable a behemoth for a certain amount of time, after you hit the stagger damage cap. Stagger damage is displayed by blue numbers when you attack the behemoth. Usually, you can deal it anywhere, but it has a higher number when you attack behemoth heads and second highest on its legs. The stagger damage needed to stagger the behemoth will increase each time after you successfully stagger him once. Simply said, if the first time it takes you 10,000 stagger damage to stagger him, then the second one will be 15, the third 20, and so on. Also, stagger damage cap increases by 66% for each additional player in the party. This means that staggering a behemoth when playing in a group is a lot harder and a less frequent occurrence than when solo, unless of course you have gone for a staggering build and everyone on your team is on point of what they are supposed to do. Remember that same as wounded damage, when you deal stagger damage, you do not deal basic damage and it does not do it in the background. Most of the time you will see stagger damage together with yellow part damage or with basic green damage next to it. Axe and hammer deal the most stagger damage, although this will be fixed at some point since hammers are supposed to be the best weapons at dealing stagger damage. the sword takes the third spot, the chain blades fourth, and on last place is the war pike. Finally, we have elemental damage, which is the one you deal if you have an elemental attribute to your weapon or you use an elemental attack from a lantern like Embermane, Vanguard and Drask ones. Some behemoths have elemental weaknesses, some have weaknesses and resistances, and some have neither and take equal damage from everything. You can check to which damage the behemoth is weak or resistant by looking at the icons beneath it on the pursuit board. You will also see this information on the airship. Each elemental damage type has a certain debuff which it will apply to the behemoths after you stack it up to its cap. The 3 elemental debuffs you can cause the behemoths are Shock, Frost and Blaze. Shock will cause the behemoth to be disabled for a few seconds, similar to staggering it. Frost will slow it down all of its movements and abilities, and Blaze will set them on fire, dealing damage to all of their body parts. You should remember that you cannot apply a debuff of the same element as the behemoth's element. What I mean by that is that Embermane and Helion are Blaze behemoths and they have resistance to Blaze, which means you cannot apply Blaze debuff to them and set them on fire. The same way you cannot apply Shock to Drask or Stormclaw. Elemental damage is not shown by any numbers, and it's sometimes hard to know how much more damage you need to do in order for the buff to be applied. However, the damage cap for elemental and stagger damage are identical and they scale the same way. Both increase by 66% with each new player in the hunt. The most important thing you should know is that weapons with elemental damage will deal less basic damage and more part damage compared to weapons with no element. A Rage-Tailed Gnasher sword will technically kill a behemoth faster than a Firebrand Charrock sword, but the Firebrand Charrock sword will destroy behemoth parts faster than a Rage-Tailed Gnasher sword. If you're wondering which sword to take in order to go for maximum damage, then use non-elemental ones. If you want to try and destroy more parts, use an elemental sword. This is how it works at the moment. I do not know if this is intended to be this way, and I do not find it logical, but this is how it is. This is everything for the damage types in Dauntless. If you enjoyed the video and you learned something from it, leave me a thumbs up down below. If there's something I missed or you wish to further discuss, drop me a comment. Share the video as you see fit, and lastly, remember to follow me on Twitch and subscribe here on YouTube for more video game and music content.